there's a goal.
Oh, we do that, yeah.
I was teasing with that right here. Just stop. That's it.
You don't have to think about stuff.
Don't sit there by myself.
This morning.
I'm gonna have to take a call. Talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a. Great. Just on the side, all the kids.
There's something about those tobacco bags that is kind of like a teacher.
Because I got them selling on
Just
this.
like
It's like,
cool.
stay home, so.
They can look sound pretty good.
No. I think we'll just stop that.
Try it with me for a little while, you'll be back to digging holes, and I'll be glad to do it. I used to run some big tractors when we started years ago, combine and stuff. I think it's boring for a while. Doing the same thing over there. Going across a 50-acre field. Oh, that's so awesome like that.
I'm like, there's something satisfying about it. Ripping through, just making it soft.
Like people love that. Got a guy that's
Pretty cool. Front off.
bring down a lot.
Yeah.
And he's got really good equipment.
Yes. I mean, that'd be the thing.
I guess it's time to start. Everybody ready? All right, we're gonna cover multi-factor authentication. If we get to it, I'm gonna show you our Google admin side, so you can see how it's not very many options to pick from. I show you what you can do to tell you all about that. Okay, first of all, I'm Michael from the Dawson Education Cooperative. We got Jeremy from Northwest. Neil is also here from DIS. They can jump in whenever they want to. If you want to follow along, you can QR code it and you can just take a look at the slides. Hopefully it'll work. I got to share it right. You let me know. Yeah, work. There's Jeremy and I and all the other co-op techs around the state. I'm sure you know at least one of those. First, we're gonna cover passwords. To me, that's your first line of defense for any user. So I'm sure everybody in here has seen this. Depending on the complexity of your password, so how long it takes to crack it. Everybody's pushing towards passphrases, which is down here in this area. So you've got numbers, upper lowercase letters, and symbols. It can take millions to billions of years to crack them. So even if the equipment's getting faster and faster, it's still going to take a while to overcome 50 million years. So if you got the slideshow, you can go there and check your password, but be smart to not use one of your real passwords. There's a little quote about processing getting faster, so. Alright, some basic practices for data privacy and cybersecurity. I'm sure y'all have heard this over and over the last couple of days, and we'll probably continue to hear them. Strong passwords, two-factor authentication, software up to date, use firewalls and antivirus, backup important data, develop a comprehensive data privacy policy. And this one's really important, ensure that all staff members are trained on privacy and cybersecurity best practices. And in case something happens, make sure you have a plan in place to respond. and ensure that all third-party vendors do have access to data are compliant. And I know y'all sit through some of the acts that are coming through, so you know what kind of review, or getting more familiar with that. So, 95% of all breaches are due to human error. That's one of the passwords and two factors, so important. So, when it comes to multi-factor, what is it? Anybody? Exactly. Alright. So rather than just asking for a username or password, it's a second verification. So that way if somebody gets your password, they'll need that second verification method to get in. So, and there's multiple methods, security keys, text, I mean, they can email, passcode, just different ways. You got Google Authenticator, all those things.
All of them have their own kind of authenticator program.
Yep.
Yeah, it's usually, like, consider something you have, and something you know. You know your password, and you have a way to authenticate it.
Okay, like I said, why it's important, additional layer of security. So it makes it harder for attackers to gain access to a device or online accounts. Even if the password's hacked, they have to get the second method in order to gain access.
And I can tell you, this is an early alert system for you too. If you get a notice on an MFA, a text with a code, that means they have a password and they got to that part.
And at least you go change your password.
So, yeah, I was telling them that in the last class, we were talking about the same thing. Like, if they get to that point, tell them, you gotta come to the IT at that point, because they actively have your password and they have hacked your account, and they're trying to get to that second layer of authentication.
For personal accounts, these are the common accounts that are crucial that you need to have multi-factor authentication. And even at the co-op, we use Amazon for everything. We buy tons of stuff. And most schools now are Google, so I mean, that's really important. Credit cards, banking, social media. So why should you turn on it? Multi-factor. And security. It's a layer of protection just beyond the password. Common sense. We've already talked about protecting against unauthorized access. In the last class, Jeremy talked about phishing risk. So if you get a phishing email and they send you to a site that looks like, you know, your Facebook login, put your password in, it mitigates this. So, compliance requirements, that's probably coming down the top. I'm sure it's going to be required for all the schools. Safeguard sensitive data, prevents identity theft, and this is a good one with peace of mind. At least you know some of your sketchy users that are known to click on stuff that might keep some of them from giving up access. And in most cases, it's easy to implement. Even for your Google domain, it's easy to turn on and manage. Okay, while it significantly enhances security, it's important to choose the right authentication method. You want to make sure, like your phone or whatever, it's simply secure also. If it's not secure, there's no point having it. This is really important. When I turned on two-factor at the co-op, I talked to the director, we just opted to force it. And it went really good for about 95%. And it was right before Thanksgiving. I didn't really think it out. So when you turn it on, I think I did it a week before Thanksgiving, and it defaulted to 2 weeks for them to do it. Well, they forgot about it. Half of them did over Thanksgiving. When we came back, didn't have access to it. So you have to go through and get them back in. It wasn't that big because it wasn't very many people. And another issue we've had, in the summer we hired a ton of people. They gave me the list of names in June. Well, they didn't start till a month later. By the time they started, they never logged in. I fought that for months, getting them access to those people, there's like 100 people. So you need to think about all those things before trying it out. I probably wouldn't recommend just going whole hog and enforcing it right off the bat. So here's some steps to help mitigate the pushback, because you're gonna get some. So you need to explain purpose. Probably start at the top. You get more buy-in if you get the superintendent on down, or in our case, the director. Highlight the benefits. Educate everybody on the rising number of security threats. Provide training. Address concerns. And then, depending on your employees, there may be a lot of those. So, offer support, like Jeremy said, he walks to everybody basically and help them do it.
Yeah, that's not feasible for a lot of you guys that are in really big school districts, but if you're in a small one, like at the co-op, I have about 100, we fluctuate from about 100 to 115 staff or so, somewhere there, and I literally just at one point started walking to everybody and said, hey, let's do this right now. And they're just like, oh, okay. And I told them all, let's do it, and so you kind of go back to one thing you said a while ago, if you're doing it through Google, you can enable it, but not force it. You can enable it for a few weeks and try to get everybody on it for a few weeks before you go to enforce it. So you can at least try to, like you said, maybe not go hog on it, just kind of enable it for at least a month or so, send out an email, tell everybody, hey, we're gonna enable this, please turn this on, then enforce it, after that if you want to. I opted to not actually enforce mine, as much as me just, and it's an extra layer for me, so if you guys are a little too busy, you may not wanna do this, but I opted not to enforce mine because we had a few shared emails between our specialists and stuff, the co-ops, and that was gonna cause an issue if one signed in somewhere and the other person, it was, authenticated to their phone. Which later on, yeah, that's what I was about to say. Later on, I found out I should just create a different OUs, and you can actually have an OU that you don't require that MFA or 2FA on.
Yeah, for R, we had a couple of those, and I didn't think about it till after the fact. We use Google Authenticator. They get the same numbers on both their phones. So it's not texted to them, so that's how we work around that.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. So, user-friendly solutions. So for some people, phone will be just fine, but I've got people at the office, that's their personal phone, they don't want anything from work on it. So you have to figure other ways how they make security keys that work with Google. You can just stick it in your computer, touch it with your thumbprint or whatever, and it'll do it. Google Authenticator, there's multiple ways to do it.
I think somebody said in one of the classes I was in a couple weeks ago, those keys are about 15 to 20 bucks a piece. You decide to go that route.
Yeah. I mean, you might not need to buy a ton of them, but some people they use these play. Just depending on if our co-ops, any indication that we got people that can barely type, so.
I think the key on this really too is to get buy-in from your administration. And I went to my director and talked to him about it, and basically said to my director, hey, what are we gonna do if people just don't turn this on? I guess I'll have to do it at some point and deal with it then or whatever. But he just said, what are you thinking? And I was like, maybe we suspend their emails. He was like, it's fine with me. I said, you're good with that? He goes, it's their work email. If they wanna use their work email, they have to do this. I said, sounds good. So I sent out an email and I just said, y'all got about a month to do this. I think I said 4 weeks to do this. And if you need help, let me know. I'll come help you. Send out a video of how to do it. And there was a few. I mean, I started going to people and they were just saying, hey, do this. But we also have an early childhood director, and she's over about 50 of our employees. And she sent out emails, carbon copy me in them, and just said, hey, if you don't get this done by Friday, your email's suspended. They all got it done. It's pretty amazing when you tell people you're going to shut off their email, they'll start getting things done. So.
You can pull you won't be the one that keeps everybody getting paid behind.
not get paid because we, got a phishing attack or something.
Lead by example, so if they see you doing it, and they know it's doable. Some of this is kind of redundant, communicate, let them know the timeline and everything, how it's gonna work. Get feedback, so you know if you need to implement something next time, what to do, what not to do. And be patient and persistent, because you have people that wait till the last minute or don't get it done. So, are going to push back harder than most. By taking these steps, you can effectively address pushback. So if you can do some of those, it'll help. I did probably 2 of them. But, okay, so I've got a big document in there we can look at that shows it walks you through Google two-step verification.
If you realize on Google it says two-step, not multi-factor authentication.
Yeah.
As you said, if you buy those keys, USB-C keys, as a two-step verification, it's just an alternative to your phone number. Instead of getting a code, you use that USB-C.
Right.
But it is not another extra security. It is not third layer.
Right.
It is just alternative because of the they call it two-step, not multi-factor. We try to do another additional third security for our super admins, which is me and my supervisor, but it doesn't work that way. It is either that one or phone number.
Yeah.
So I was gonna ask you actually if you know adding it like third layer.
I don't. We just get the option of use your phone number, or you can try another way.
Yeah.
So Google specifically, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, Google.
Does this setup give them push notifications that they can just hit approve, or does it send them a code that they have to type in?
Okay, so mine, you can do it multiple ways. Most people get a text, but I also get, if I'm logged into YouTube on my phone, it'll say, hey, is this you? If I do, you just click yes. You don't have to type nothing in.
That you can do.
That's
either
what
way.
mine is.
And you can also, it also do it through the Gmail app.
Yeah, that's what mine is. Through Gmail, I'll get a notification on my phone, it'll say, it's time sensitive. I click on it, it takes me to my app and it says, is this you? Yes, it's me, it's not. And that goes back to what I said earlier, and I wanna kind of reiterate that, and expound on that just a little. I was telling them that some of your users, y'all probably, as soon as I say this, you're gonna picture some of them in your head. Some of your users are not always the brightest, and they might do something in this where they think, you've got this layer and they think they're doing what they need to do and they're not gonna do it. And the reason I say this is because one of our co-ops was telling us here a while back about they'd done this, and it kept going off on somebody's phone, and they kept saying, no, it's not me, no, it's not me, no, it's not me. Okay, fine, whatever, and they hit yes. And so you have to tell your staff when they do this, if you do this, and you're not actively trying to log into an email or something like that, or a browser, and it comes up, and it says, is this you? Never hit yes. And if that happens, that's what I'm saying, you come to me and you let me know, because we've got to change your password, because it's been actively hacked. Yeah, his user finally got tired of it and just hit yes. I was like, fine, whatever, yeah, okay. So that's kind of something to kind of make sure they know, Sorry, go ahead.
I think that's how Oxford got hacked. Somebody just kept pushing that duo push. The duo does a push, you push up. And they didn't really think that, hey, I'm not actually logging into anything. So they kept going boom, boom, boom. And I said, yes, go away.
Yeah.
Well, employee Oxford, which is a identity
Former employee.
yeah, identity provider was the attack vector. Go away, yes.
Yeah.
They're supposed to ask you to turn that off. make them happen, so everyone can do this.
Yeah, there's different options. We can look at
That's
options.
dangerous, that just yes.
Yeah, there's, we can look, there's,
I know through Duo, you can do that.
Just keep doing it until you say yes.
That's the problem.
So, if your students and your teachers are in the same forest, is there any, if you enable MFA for all of your teachers and then someone gets in via student, is it locked down better that way? Just to the point where they can, I assume we're not gonna give MFA to students, so is there any way to address that you guys know of, or anyone else? Cause I've been wondering about that the entire, like, you can give MFA to teachers all you want, but
They have an option for answer questions.
we have, unless everybody else is like divided OUs or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the limit.
Our OUs are divided.
Well, yeah, they're divided by OU, but not, since it's not divided by forest, it's still a vulnerability, just as bad as getting into a student account is just as bad as getting into a teacher's, so if it's not rude to ask, what's the point?
right. I mean, depending on what access the student or you has, I don't know how. We don't have students, I don't deal with students at the co-op, so.
I would say too, like, when I was at Farmington, we had our student accounts locked down to where no outside email could send to them unless we had whitelisted it.
Okay.
So that kind of helped prevent that in that way. Literally, nothing came to them unless it'd been whitelisted.
Okay, so you like whitelist colleges and things like that?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the same thing.
Okay.
At a former school.
So I think that's probably your best line of defense on that.
And yeah, I don't, sorry if it's a dumb
Yeah.
question or anything like that.
And your students is only accessing Chromebooks, correct?
Yeah, they're on Chromebooks, but from 6th and up, they get Windows user IDs as well. Most of them don't ever use them, but they're used for things like yearbook and, random one-offs for whatever reason. Usually colleges, they're around their senior year, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing is if you don't have their emails locked down, lock that down to where outside emails can't come to them unless it's whitelisted.
Okay. Sorry to derail.
Oh, no.
That's what we want.
Yeah, because I don't think it's hard for me to think of students because I don't have any.
Yeah. That's, I guess that's the good part about me. I mean, I was in the student part of it for 8 years before going to co-op, so I've been on y'all's side of things too. I've been there. Prairie Grove for a year and then Farmington schools for 7 years.
Okay, so. Where it says this. So any user accounts created before December 2016 had two-step verification on my call. I don't know how long everybody's been using Google. It's turned on if it's allowed. It's allowed. Yeah, it's allowed. It's not forced. It's enforced. And I really don't remember if I turned ours on or if it was already on. And I know I started using it a long time ago, but, so, if it is on, you can go see, you can track enrollments, you can see who's already got it turned on if you want to. In the section. But, go to security, authentication, and two-step verification, there's really not many options. So it's allowed, that means people can do it if they want to. You can see, we forced ours on, so you can set the date you want it to start. And I did ours like 2 weeks, and the whole Thanksgiving thing kind of holds that up. So I think this new user enrollment period, I think it may be a false 2 weeks maybe. I changed it to a month, because we had tons of users get hired and they weren't logging in until it was already expired. So they have a month when they log on, they get reminders, hey, you need to enroll in two-factor. So,
There's that method thing we're talking about too.
yeah, so they can use any method. It's the option, so any method that Google allows. So they can use any except verification codes via text or phone call. So they can, you can force them not to get the text on the phone. Or phone call. Or if you, do what?
SMS should not be considered secure.
Right.
Somebody really would use really high value target, you know, it could probably get it.
Oh, yeah. And if you choose to spend the money, you can go and do own security keys. There's not a ton of options in here.
I think Nathan did something about that security code where he has a code that his people have to come and get if they get locked out.
Okay, so what happens on ours, if they don't get logged in, you have to go to their account, go to security, and there's a two-factor authentication section. So I can go in there and get an 8-digit backup code. And you send it to them, then they can, once I access it, then it lets them put a code in. So I can give them a code, they get it one time, then they can turn. So if Bryce, if you need into somebody's Google account, they got two-factor on, you can change your password, log on as them, you can use that to access their account. So you can still get in there. And that, I mean, that's all the options. To turn it on, there's not.
There's no option to force it before they log in. You are just giving them 1 month
Right.
to enroll.
Right.
They can still skip it.
They can, and if they keep skipping, you can say none, and I hadn't tried it, I'm assuming they just force them, the first time they log in, said none. But we were having so many people, that we got to hire so many, it was expiring before they were locked out from the start. So I just pushed it out to the line, and I still had lots of trouble with it.
See, what I did was a little bit different, this is where sometimes, I didn't do the enforcement, I just did the allow our users, but I went and made a user and said, hey, let's do this. And there's a section, if you look at your users, which I'm sure Michael doesn't want to show his users, but if you look at your user list from in Google Admin, there's a little tick you can check that shows that they've turned two-factor on or off. And so I just went in there and I looked at all that. Basically, I separated out my users and I made sure I took out all of my suspended users and put them in a different OU. That way, when I go to look, it's easier for me to look at just my current users. I only have about 100 or so current users, and I can just look through them pretty quick and see if they turned it on or off. Just like recently, we hired about 4 new employees recently. I went and looked and they hadn't turned theirs on, so I emailed their direct supervisor and said to their boss and said, hey, you know, they gotta turn that on.
So you can go to report, and you can see, just look at who's enrolled and who's not. So if you opt in, don't force it, you can go check and see who you talk to if that's.
And somebody had asked me about this a while back, if you decide to enforce it, you make sure you do it by the OU, and you may have to create a new OU if you've got emails you use for your scanners for your copiers. Because then that's to force that email to try to do 2FA also. So you need to put that in one that's not getting enforced in an OU.
Yeah, you let it hit, cause don't think about those things.
Yeah.
Better trying to clean up Google.
Right. I went through about a month ago and started clearing out all my old users, and I got like 3 or 4 text messages like, oh, you shut off so-and-so's account, and now links that was on the state website doesn't work, and I'm like, well, they don't work here anymore. And so I finally just said, well, tell them to turn on 2FA, and I guess I'll leave their account active, but I did not like the fact that they didn't work here, but everybody's like, no, you gotta leave their account active. I'm like, well, then they gotta have 2FA on, please.
What is the reason? Shouldn't be suspended?
They've left the co-op and they work at school now, but when they set up all these links on some state website, because they work at the co-op and they dealt with this and stuff and everything, it was linked to a lot of their Google documents. And so I actually sent an email to my entire staff after that and said, it's common practice if you leave the co-op that we shut, or any school or whatever, that we shut your email off. So if you have documents documents that you use in this stuff, you need to make sure you're using team drives. Because if you ever leave and we set your account, those documents become ownership of, or the ownership of those transfers to the team drive. See, a lot of them didn't have that set up, so I'm trying to push that too.
So what happens
Mitigate
when,
that.
like when you delete an account, you get an option to send their files somewhere to some other.
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah, they didn't do that.
Does that break the share? I never tried.
No, so, yeah, I've dealt with that, that's an interesting little deal there. Yeah, it transfers ownership, basically. But yeah, it's kind of weird that it can cause some problems too. I don't remember all of that, but I did have to deal with it at one point on something else.
How many people is going to, turn it on to the factor
You know, years ago.
years ago?
It's really good. Like teachers, of course, as you said, some of them just skip it until it expires,
Yeah.
and they like now we have IT guys at school. They just go help them, I give them backup codes, and they just enroll it. They help the IT guys help them to enroll to STEM.
Right.
Yeah, now that I kind of know more about what, cause I just kind of did what was blindly when I started doing it, I would suggest making the OUs where you have some exclusions and then just force it, really. We go about it delicately, give them time, talk them through it, if there are a few, how to do it, send them screenshot, there's literally, you can just search how to turn on Google 2FA and send them the link for that, so here's the directions of how to turn it on, maybe give some people the time to do it, and then just say, if you don't do it by this time, it's gonna be done by this time, that way you can knock out, a lot of that, but I would say probably utilize the OU, options of putting some exception OUs, like your copiers and stuff like that, and your students, obviously, and then, force it.
Is there you said there was like a month-long grace period where they have to sign up for it?
You can set multiple, if there was multiple.
Is there like a way to set, I guess would it just be from us, but automated emails that come from Google?
Yeah, they do.
They do, that's cool.
And I don't remember how often, but they send reminders pretty regular. But, once again, half of people don't pay attention to it, so.
That's why I just started walking to them and saying, hey, let's do this right now.
Yeah, but you can do, like, turn on and you can look and see who hadn't, so you will know who needs, you can go on to, so you won't spend as much time just looking.
Like I said, that's probably not an option for somebody like Bryce, you don't have time to walk, how many teachers I got, 450?
450.
Yeah.
And campuses is all over the place.
And other staff, other than teachers.
So the thing is, once it's turned on, once it's working, I hadn't heard any problems, once you get past everybody signed up.
Preferred notification method on it. Text messages.
For the most part, that's what everybody co-op uses.
So you have to authenticate.
Some people, we do it on the shared accounts, we had a few shared email accounts, and so we did that. But I've got lots of users that I don't know that they can use to authenticate that, as simple as it is.
Oh, I had a lady that I had to literally walk her through it, she was having trouble with it. Not that hard. Yeah, it's not that hard for us, because we do deal with stuff every day.
So, once you get it going, you never hear anything outside of it. And I know y'all heard this, it's a little off topic. But for safety, be sure to delete all your downloads. Keep any files on the computer that you don't need. And be mindful of what you say and where you say it.
If you use Azure Active Directory, they have option, I forgot the name of it. You can set the threshold date on the download folders we set it up for 2 days. If it is older than 2 days, of course we let the staff know first, and then we enable it. It's deleted after 2 days. If it is older than 2 days, it's deleting everything in the download folder.
Is there any option to change the time on that?
Yes, you can change it, whatever you want to. Our purpose was if you download something, like let's say you downloaded all students' data in your download, and then they don't delete it, they just use it that day, it's just stay there. We want them, if they are manipulating, if they are working on their file, we want them to move it to correct location, or correct folder. We don't want them to keep things in their downloads. I mean, if any of you using Azure Active Directory, that have option.
So go back to the previous slide for just a second. So I'll speak on this because I know Chrissy would. So this stuff she didn't say for no reason. This is stuff we've seen on a machine that's gotten breached and say as a bookkeeper, and they've gone through and just downloaded just so they can look at a file for a short period of time, goes into temp. And if that's not getting cleaned out and that machine gets breached, they have all that. Now you have to go through and figure out what they have access to, what they don't. So, I don't know if anybody's blood pressure just went up, but. Okay, so, and the other thing is, it doesn't matter how long the password is, how many breaches do we have a day in any number of systems? If they use that same password and email somewhere else, then they have that password, doesn't matter how long it is. But if you have multi-factor authentication turned on, you have something that stopped them from getting into your system, at least. Right? So, just a couple of thoughts.
What's your suggestion or what are you thinking about putting multi-factor authentications on computer logins? Computer logins?
Well, login. I don't know, I've thought about that.
I've been thinking about that while lately too.
You can do it with Chromebooks, like you're all Chromebook, can't you? Yeah.
If you're doing this here, it's not hard. If you're doing domain, you have to have a third. There is a way to do it. Yeah.
Fortinet can do it pretty well.
So,
I worked for a company before moving to the school district that implemented it, and educating the users is the hardest part. Again, but
Is it third party?
it was third party. There was a Tulip company called Tulip that worked with Fortinet to get it to work.
but I know there's some third party apps that you can put in with Active Directory and make.
So you can do it with Azure?
Yeah, I'm sure you can do it, because if their machines are joined, then, they can enforce it.
Well, on Azure, Microsoft has two-factor authentication, yes, but we couldn't figure out during the login to computer, it doesn't ask. When you log into it, it just pop up and wants you to verify it after you log in.
So it didn't come up before that.
If they don't verify what happens.
Yeah.
If they don't verify, they don't see printer charges, let's say, or it's always pop up. They cannot log into Microsoft Office.
Are they, are yours hybrid, where they're
We are not hybrid right now. We are all cloud. It's not hybrid. Before that, of course, it was local, all local, but it's
I thought on those that was your joined only, that it would pop up and ask for the code unless they're maybe on your network. It might be
Yeah,
something like that.
we play with those you are talking about geolocation
Yeah.
restrictions and stuff. It didn't do that, like, not before login. It is not asking before.
Only afterwards.
After the.
So they still get into it, but they just don't get some resources.
Good thing they log them right back out.
But I have seen third parties do it.
Yeah, I know
Somebody asked
Cisco
about that before.
Cisco Duo, I guess. Duo.
Yeah.
Does it like this?
For those, are they pricey?
The one,
It is
I mean,
I got a quote once. It's not expensive.
Duo has system, and it's not soon.
Yeah, I was just saying. And I didn't know it was pretty, I've not seen it like pretty.
talking about is that, like an appliance that does Active Directory two-factor. Who's talking to someone about it?
I think it's a service, and then you like give an IDM or a single sign-on. I don't know all the ins and outs of A-State does it, but I know it's how I have to do the thing. Cause when you go to my A-State, that's like an IDM, it's kinda like Clover. You know, you have all the apps that you click on, but it's big boy IDM, right? Single sign-on, and then as soon as you log into it, you immediately get that duo comes into, and just when you're hired on, you get this packet, it's all part of your getting on board, that you get your phone out, you install the duo app, log in, and there's a process, and then it just says your
I think
phone.
that just goes back to that slideshow again.
I'm not absolutely positive.
I'm sure it is expensive, but
I'm sure it is.
but but everybody does it, students, everybody, they do it.
Is tonight's room 12, is that final, this is final session?
I think it's where they had the email thing on here, it's like on the other side of the bar.
Yeah, it's a big, yeah, it's not that big room, it's like an old restaurant.
It was, what is two-factor?